Here's my advice to you. Don't neglect your wood boiler. My wood boiler that's heating my home that I've built from the ground up is busted. I may have caused a wood gas explosion, and now my wood boiler doesn't work. And I'm supposed to be mudding my home today, which means I need heat in here. Maybe it happened on its own, because it can happen, but I've learned there's a ton of user error that can contribute to this. But now I have a major issue. The gas explosion happened and the fan is no longer working, which means the only thing that's really happening right now is holes are burning in the bottom. There's a lot of things to troubleshoot today, and I'm brand new to any sort of mechanic type thing, but I got told when I bought this, if you own a wood boiler, it's like taking care of a horse. You have to feed it morning and night, you have to muck the stalls and do the maintenance, and you have to do the research. And I think this is where I was lacking a little bit, because honestly, there's a lot more to learn than I thought. And if you're new here, my name is Biata. I'm building my dream home and homestead from scratch and vlogging it. So if you like DIY building or homesteading, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, it's a huge help. So here's the series of events. Yesterday, I saw that the smoke had been going up the chimney every time I came outside. I didn't think anything of it because I'm working inside right now, but when I was inside, I realized there was actually no heat coming from the liquid pipes that run into the house. And so I came over here, saw it was only at 100 degrees, which is not at temperature. I opened this up and I saw ash everywhere. And I went, oh no, what did I do? I think this got filled up with ash. Oh, it was working so well. I think the fan is kaput because it's not even trying to run. At first I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't cleaned it in a bit. The ash backed up and filled up the blowing chute. This guy is gonna be full of ash. I didn't think this could happen. The reason why I left it was because the wood boiler was running so well and I was having a hard time getting a good bed of coals going in here. And as soon as the ash builds up, the bed of coals works better. So I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I neglected taking it out. So I cleaned my wood boiler out and then I started troubleshooting. So I can see all the way into the back. Right below my finger here, there's a rectangle. That isn't blocked. There might be a little bit of ash on the other side, but you can see that it's clear. So taking the fan off isn't gonna help right now. The guy who I bought the wood boiler off of told me to check a few things, so I did. Luckily, the damper actuator was working. Good thing is, this guy is still turning. Apparently that's the really expensive fix. So my next thought was, it has to be the motor. The motor's kaput. Now, I went to the internet to try to figure out what happened. After searching, I found a forum that talked about this exact thing happening. I thought I had just neglected my ash and that this guy filled up with ash, but that air opening wasn't blocked and it wasn't full of ash. So that wasn't necessarily the issue. I started reading and I found out other people had had this issue before. And they wrote, my float blew out of my wood boiler and there was ash in the back of my unit. What could have happened? And then someone wrote gas explosion and I thought, oh my goodness, when I went out to my wood boiler yesterday morning, this water gauge that tells us how hot the water is, basically because water or glycol, when it's heated, it expands and then this will rise. So when I came out to my wood boiler yesterday morning, this was all the way like that. And I was like, huh, that's weird. I don't see glycol anywhere dripping out. So I shoved it back in and went about my day. And then later on that day, again, I realized that the fan wasn't blowing. Now, when the wood gas explosion happens, it needs somewhere to go, which means it is going to expand outwards. And when that happens, the water container that's on the outside gets hit from the explosion. And that's why this popped off, because the glycol would have kind of pushed it up. And then I realized that ash wasn't just trickling in here. This is an explosion. It was dark outside. It was late. I was cold. So at this point, I was like, okay, shut the thing off. Luckily, we have a backup electric boiler. Hey, so a little update. This pump only works for the wood boiler, typically when this is at 180. Usually if I don't have it at 180, this pump won't turn on. Right now, for whatever reason, no matter what I turn this to, it is staying on, so we'll leave that at that. But right now my concern is my electric boiler's not turning on. No matter what I do, no matter, like I left this on for 20 minutes, no heat came through. I did this way for 20 minutes, no heat came through. Right now, the wood boiler is off. It's broken down. So this is only at like maybe 80 to 100 degrees. I feel like something should be happening. Something should be heating up, and it's just not. I'm at a loss right now. Yeah, well, the electric boiler isn't working. I don't know what's going on, but there's some sort of communication issue happening between the wiring. The glycol running from here isn't hot enough. It should be shutting that pump off inside that runs the glycol through the system and turning on the electric boiler. When I realized the electric boiler wasn't working, I started to panic because now we have no heat source. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. My electric boiler is not working. The backup, the only backup. So I noticed that this was loose and had fallen out. I'm wondering if because there was a burst of air, if maybe a wire came loose. I just have to check this before I go to bed because maybe it's an easy fix. I can't tell. That's clearly not the issue, and I think everything else should be done in daylight. There's gonna be no heat supplied to the house tonight, so we'll see how it drops. Now we have no heat source, and this is where I'm so happy I went with in-floor heating. Even though there's no heat being supplied to my home right now, it actually only went down 1 degree overnight. If I had gone with a forced air system, there wouldn't be heat radiating from the slab still. So although a forced air system is much cheaper, having the in-floor heating is really nice for those failure situations because your home is going to stay warm and you have some time to figure it out. Before I went to bed, I realized that the fan's motor was really hot. This part was really hot to touch. Not this, not this, this. The motor was trying to do its thing, but something was blocking it from being able to do its thing. So today I'm going to take the fan out, blow it out, and try to see if there's debris causing the fan to be stuck and not allowing it to blow. But then when I came out here this morning and I turned the system on, the actuator was not working. And I realized it looked like my wire got a little pinched. It got pinched right in the actuator. So now I have a whole other issue. So either the wire truly got pinched, or when it closed last night, it's not been able to reopen because maybe something is jammed, like the ash causing it to not open. Hopefully I have something that fits. Wow, okay, how am I supposed to fit anything in here? It only fits in sideways. Oh yeah. Look at all of that. There was definitely something jammed in there. I can manually spin it, which is good. So if there was a blockage, I mean, that's not the issue anymore. Maybe it was the issue. Wow. I'm still gonna have to blow this out, that's for sure. Now to see if there's ash stuck in here. Oh yeah, there's a ton. That could be a huge reason why the dampener is not opening. Let's get that vacuumed out. All clean. I think actually it looks like there's a bunch below it too. Shall try again. She's opening. And some further vacuuming needs to happen just below that. But the good news is, like excellent news, is that that wire being pinched a little bit didn't do any damage. It looks like it only pinched the outside edge. I think it'll be okay. Did we get it? Most of it, a little bit more. There's still so much. The ash is vacuumed out from the back all the way to the front. You can see that it's clear. Sharing my life online, fixing wood boilers, building the home, it does come at a price, and the price is my privacy. So I'm really grateful I have Reolink's security cameras all around my property, and not only that is I have the Home Hub. The Reolink Home Hub is a centralized device designed to enhance and simplify your Reolink security cameras. The Home Hub allows you to connect up to 8 Reolink security cameras cameras, both PoE and Wi-Fi models. There's no subscription needed. I would say the best thing about it is the added security. The device incorporates advanced encryption for data protection, safeguarding your recordings against unauthorized access. It also features anti-theft algorithms that detect tampering or unauthorized movement of all of the connected cameras, sending you a prompt notification and alarm for any breaches. And with a few taps on the Reolink app, you can view all of your cameras in one place with easy access to live feeds, playbacks of videos from multiple devices. Reolink's Home Hub kits are one of the most beginner-friendly security systems. It's super easy to set up. You can add the Home Hub to your security system, or you can buy it in a kit combining 2 battery cameras, such as the Argus 4 Pro or the Argus PT Ultra. Click the link in my description to check out Reolink's Home Hub and the deals they have going on right now. And thank you so much to Reolink for sponsoring me multiple times over the last year. Now let's get back to it. Problem number 1, the pinched wire is out of the way. Problem number 2, the actuator not opening and there being a ton of ash is solved. Problem number 3, you can hear a low hum coming from the fan, coming from the motor. Something must still be stuck. Let's blow it out. Okay, it's blown out. The moment of truth, whether or not maybe more needs to be opened up or I need to order a new motor. Turn the furnace on. I did it! Oh my gosh. I did it! I f***ing did it. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy right now. Like, I didn't want to get my hopes up because I was like, oh, I have to get this motor. Like, this is going to be so much more work. I have to go drive away to go get it. But they're calling for like a snowstorm. I don't know. It's beautiful out. I had to drive my daughter to school today. It was a snow day. And so I didn't want to get my hopes up, but my knowledge said, okay, the actuator is turning on, other than this morning. The motor is hot, which means it's trying, but it can't because it's stuck. And so the troubleshooting, I was on the right track. And so I'm really excited because I've never been the type to like work on mechanics. Anyways, I'm gonna get this all back together, but there's definitely some more maintenance that I need to do. All right, hooked up, working, ready to go. Before I actually turn it on for the rest of the day, let's do some maintenance. What I learned in my research, something that can cause this gas explosion to happen is if you neglect to or forget to toggle the plates at the bottom of where the wood goes every week. And so I wasn't doing that, honestly, because I was trying to get that coal base built up, and I had a great coal base built up, and I was worried that if I shook this, that some of my coals were gonna go away. I was having a really hard time, honestly, at the beginning of the season, figuring out how to get the fire burning efficiently where I didn't have to continuously come out here and reignite the fire because it would self-dampen, the coals would go out. And I found that having a bit of ash in the bottom of here helped the coals stay lit because it's keeping it a little bit more insulated. But I left it for too long and I wasn't shaking the plates. So let's shake the plates. Apparently, if you don't shake the plates enough, the ash can condense and then it's hard for the air to get to the coals. And then when it does, it can cause a really big ignition and a really big wood gas explosion, which is what happened. This was completely clear before I did that. Wow, though. All of these coals and ash came out of the bottom. So this would have been really condensed, not loose. I'm just gonna leave this in here for now because that's fine. Next step to keep this working nicely and to not have a wood gas explosion is to rake the bed every single time you load it. So this isn't something that I was doing very often unless I had completely run out of wood. The last week, it's been kind of warm. When I go and fill it up in the morning, I have my amazing bed of coals, but like there's still logs burning on top of it. And so I actually haven't been raking anything, which again, probably contributed into this disaster. So right now I do have logs in here. I can't really rake. Trying to rake it a little bit. Next maintenance thing that should be done every week. Pull this guy out. We've got some buildup here that probably didn't help. And there's a plate in here. Honestly, it's already a mess down here. I'm just gonna make it messier. And there's another little spot in the back here that you need to clean out, which I had been doing, so I don't think it'll be too bad. Oh, yeah, it was still bad. Cleaned that out last week. Now I'm seeing a lot of like sticky, tarry stuff. I'm wondering if I should go up and check to see if there's any creosote buildup, because again, last 24 hours, it's just been like slowly heating up and hasn't had enough heat to burn off any of that creosote. So we're gonna see where that's at for a little bit of maintenance. It's actually looking just fine. That can be a springtime project, but there's no real buildup issue, so I'm gonna leave that. Something I absolutely know I need to do is tighten these bolts on the door handles. There's definitely some leaking in here, which can cause the wood boiler to overheat, and then your liquid, your water, your glycol can start running out of the unit. Obviously you don't want it to overheat, and the reason it overheats is because it's allowing air in when it's supposed to be dampened. Felt like I went tighter. Okay, yeah, no, we're good. Ah! Silly girl, what are you doing? Now it has some movement. Let's try it a little further back from where it was. Oh, that's tight. I mean, that's gonna seal. It's a little tight. They loosen up over time is all. I might loosen it a tiny bit, and I need to tighten the top one a bit. There we go. Too tight. I'm so happy everything's back in working order. Time to get the heat back on. I'm gonna throw in a birch, a poplar, another birch, and another poplar, and a couple of oaks. Furnace is on. It's at 134 degrees, and flames are gonna start to ignite. Now, because of the passive heat in our home from these giant windows, we're actually at 69 degrees. I'm gonna let the wood boiler get up to temperature. I'll kick this on a bit higher to get some of that hot glycol through the in-floor heating, but I think the wood boiler is gonna do most of its work tonight when the temperature in the home drops because the sun has set. I thought I'd also answer some questions on the wood boiler. I get a lot of questions about kind of how they function, how well it works for our home, and I did a lot of videos on them last winter, but our home wasn't insulated, and so a lot of you thought, wow, that's so inefficient. You're heating your home with so much wood. You went through your whole pile so quickly. And I was just trying to keep my slab warm. I was trying to keep my home from heaving before we could insulate it because I had all the utilities to do. But we're now at our first winter where we're pretty well as much insulated as we'll ever be. Like, we have all the insulation. The drywall boarding is now up. But honestly, I've gone through a lot less wood this winter than I thought I would. I fill the boiler twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, about every 12 hours. I still have this whole pile of hardwood. This pile of oak is pretty much gone. And this massive pile in the middle, I have maybe 2 rows into the pile, and I'm starting to chip away at this chunk here. The tarps have been just absolute trash. I never want to have a winter again where we're dealing with piles of wood underneath multiple, that's probably 3 feet of snow, all compacted. Probably a foot of that is ice. I think I'll be building my wood shed sheds right beside the unit, beside the other shed. And I think when you have a property that's 18 acres, yes, it's great. You are going to burn a lot of wood though. So I don't think I'm going to be able to use only the wood from my property, unfortunately. But the great thing about meeting people, asking them questions, is that I make a lot of really cool connections. I do have a couple of friends who build driveways for a living or build septics, and they take down trees all the time. And most of the homeowners don't want those trees. And I've been told, hey, in the spring, I'm going to drop off some maples and some oaks for you. So that's really cool having those connections. I didn't know I was going to have those connections at the beginning of this journey. My other thought was to get a license to cut on crown land, or maybe one day I'll own my own machine or be able to rent machines and build other people's driveways and take the logs for myself. There's a lot of options, and I feel like it's the kind of work that I like to do. Like, I really enjoy dropping trees. I enjoy bucking and splitting. I really like that manual labor. So I'm okay with the extra work that it brings if it means, you know, cheaper heating bills. Thanks to those people in the forums responding, helping me figure this out. I'm so happy to have this dealt with and for it to be working and to have learned something new. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back working on the house next week. And just so you know, SMHC did warranty all of this. There was literally, like, I thought there was a wire flipped. There's like a communication error. So it is working now. All good to go. Also, I've been doing premieres on my videos. So as soon as I upload around 10 a.m., the video goes live. Join me in the chat. It's super fun. There's a panel to the right-hand side of the video. We can chat. You can ask questions. I'm sitting there watching with you. And if you join late, just rewind the video. If you join 5 minutes in, start from the very beginning. I'll still be in the chat answering questions. So thank you so much. You are awesome. You are so kind. Thank you for all your comments. And if you have a tip for me about the wood boilers, leave it in the comments. I'm learning. I will eventually do a full review on this wood boiler, a full review on the cost breakdown and how much we're saving. I think it costs maybe 30 cents, 60 cents to run the pumps for the wood boiler. A day in electricity is not very much. So follow along, and I will see you back in the house next week.